basically involves a conflict that the two of you have, but it begins with you driving over to this Thanksgiving dinner of Jess's mother, and then afterwards driving back home, and then the conflict is in the middle. The thing that I thought was probably the standout was the use of the music. How it nicely parallaxes the scenes. The fact that it's so comedic. And Jerry the Jew, you mentioned this in an email, where most of your villains are not necessarily the Disney types, the one-dimensional villain. They're usually buffoons. And Jerry is a nice buffoon, but he also is a nasty person.
Yeah.
You also said that you underwrote him and that he was actually worse in real life.
Yeah.
But you didn't take it realistic in the drama.
Well, I mean, I do probably capture about 85–90% of his nastiness. I mean, I have his hitting on some of the other women happen sort of off screen. We hear about it later. We see him and the other women go off, and then we hear later from the women that he was making suggestive comments toward them and that kind of thing. So I didn't want to put all of that in there. The focus was on Jerry versus Jess. It was, basically this could have been called Jerry the Jew versus Jessica. That could have been the play.
But the brunt of the conflict involves you and Jerry.
Well, I mean,
it involves Jess towards the end, and that's where you lose it on him when he starts attacking her to the extent that she finally has an entire fit.
But in a larger sense, the play is about a conflict of values. Jessica mentions, and it's mentioned in the play when they're talking afterwards, how Jessica's mother has some of the same shallow materialistic values that Jerry the Jew speaks of, except that she is nicer about it. She doesn't. I mean, in real life, for example, Jessica's mother is reading one of Jessica's books, and she just doesn't get some of the stuff, and
there's too much thinking.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing that gets Jessica, and so the whole thing. But I mean, it's a good chamber drama in a sense. I mean, it's a chamber play. It takes place going and coming in the cars. There's Danny and Jessica's always peeing every few minutes, driving there. Then you have Jerry the Jew in the middle scene where they're eating, and
you have at least in every other play just using the urinal at some point.
Well,
I think this is even how you end this play. I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, it ends with Danny having to pull over while Jessica goes to the bathroom. Yeah, Danny blinks and turns to his right as Jess smiles, presumably in anticipation of a diminished bladder, and the lights black out. So
it kind of reminds me of the end of Another Woman, but with bathroom jokes.
Yeah.
Well, she's having this other insight. It's about going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Relief.
And I took in at the job I'm working now at this high school. Towards the end, Danny is quoting from some of the ridiculous cards that these kids had put up on the wall that kept falling down that I had to sweep away. So when I was tossing them out, I just looked at them and I said, "Oh, this would make a good material for a play." And so I used some of the idiotic. Of course, I changed the names, but I used some of the idiotic comments to show how stupid the kids are and how stupid everyone is. The play is really a biting attack on early 21st century intelligence or lack thereof. And Jerry the Jew is the biggest example of it. He's got the Napoleon complex. He's yelling at Danny, calling Jessica a failure, and him and Danny just a janitor, and then Jess giving the double middle finger, saying "fuck you" to Jerry the Jew, and the reason too, people would say, well, isn't it being anti-Semitic to have the play subtitled Jerry the Jew? No, this play, in a sense, is the dramatic equivalent of my Ninth Murder, or Spick Takes on a Nigger, in that I'm using the fact that Jerry the Jew is such a perverse stereotype of the Jew. Danny even mentions in there that Aryan nation types would be creaming in their shorts over this, because it would be a perfect propaganda for Joseph.
Perhaps my favorite moment is where they're talking about Moby Dick.
Yeah.
And he just has this offside comment where he says, That's a book where everyone dies. I like it.
Yeah. but just and the thing is, just like I had Henry Miller in the these lesser weathers of Beethoven, as he steps into the face of Beethoven, having a black man step into the face of this Aryan representative. Here I have Jerry the Jew stepping into the face of Joseph Goebbels as it's put on stage, and again that emphasizes the comic aspect, because if you've ever seen, like, sometimes in Tom and Jerry cartoons or Bugs Bunny cartoons.
That's a good point, because it emphasizes the comedic aspect when you know that there's dramas out there that utilize that makes that symbol just go flat. So the context is what matters in using that.